Hi, and welcome to Books in Action. My name is Larry Petraccaro, and I have with me tonight Keisha Miller, who is the teen librarian at the South Orange Public Library, and Jane Folge, who is the head of children's services at the Maplewood Public Library. And we're going to talk about the summer reading program. This is something that I guess Maplewood and South Orange work together on. It's something that's been going on for a number of years. So why don't we start with you, Keisha, since you're closer. Give us a little description quickly of the summer reading program.
Well, the summer reading program is a program that's open to children, teens, and adults. And there's support from local businesses and the community at large that enables us to provide prizes and incentives to everybody who participates. It's just a nice time to get to know our community a little bit more in terms of what they're reading and, you know,
bring them into the
library.
And Jane, you've been involved in this for how many years now at Maplewood?
22 years.
22 years.
Yeah.
And Keisha, you must have been part of that reading program, I would think, at some.
Actually, I've been with South Orange for a little over 20 years.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So two of you. But
So,
the program is been growing year after year.
yes. Yes. Wouldn't you say? Weren't we just talking about, you know?
I said fluctuates a little bit, but it's certainly as popular as it was many years ago, if not more so. So I guess growing would be,
I mean,
yeah, a good way of describing it.
one of the things that I think we talk about this when we visit the schools to promote the summer reading program to the children and teens is that we're in a very what's the word I'm looking for? We're very fortunate to have 3 libraries between South Orange and Maplewood. So I think that's an incentive in and of itself. You know, where some communities don't even have one library that kids can go to, and so our kids in the community have a variety. And you know, we say kids because we work. That's our audience, but certainly everyone who lives here has a variety of libraries to go to, all with different types of programming. You know, what fits them, their schedules. So I think that's really important to add to this conversation.
Right.
There is something for everyone, and I think it has fluctuated over time. You know, depending upon people's interests, depending upon their schedules, you know, what they want to read, what they want to go to in terms of programming.
Well, also, whether people are around in the summer, certainly
Yeah.
economically, more positive times, people tend to go away a little more, but.
Well, speaking of that going away, but they can continue their participation. Can they read books that they don't take out of the library and come back and report to the library?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
This is it's an incentive program. It's to keep people reading over the summer, especially kids. And it was designed for kids in school, just so that they don't have what is generally called a summer slide, a little bit of a lapse in what, you know, brain function and memory and things and academic success. So it's just an opportunity to get them enthusiastic, bring them into the library, and whether they like to read or don't like to read, that's almost irrelevant because we provide so many different programs that it's really something for everyone. I think you can find in the 3 libraries, and yeah.
Well, what about kids, the really little kids who can't read, say they're 3 or they're 4 or they're 5, they probably enjoy coming to the library, I would think. Can there be read to and participate?
I think the way you started out with the 3 libraries in this community and the amount of enthusiasm there is in Maplewood and South Orange, that community supports 3 libraries, goes to 3 libraries. I mean, our door count is astronomical. A lot of people coming in and loving to read, and that is for little kids as well. So parents who read to their children. We certainly have books on CD. We have ebooks that you can download or get from the computer, and just so many ways to read or enjoy a book.
Many of the
Yeah.
ways in which we promote the summer reading program, going back to some of the school visits, we encourage those kids who are of age to read. Not to say a 3-year-old couldn't, because
Yeah.
some of them can. But
Yeah.
those kids, you know, those older siblings, we encourage them, you know, to read to their younger siblings. And you're never too old to be read to, you know,
Yeah.
contrary to the belief. I was just reading a report that was just published about the importance of reading to middle school students. And I found that to be so true. It's important that you read aloud to them. It's helping their comprehension. It's helping them understand and listen better and, able to articulate back to you what's happened. So no matter what age you are, it's important that you're read to and that you're able to read to other people. But we try to incorporate a lot of fun into the summer reading program. And like I said, it's not just for children and teens, but there's also an adult component to it as well. In South Orange, we've been doing that for a few years now, and it's been well received. So we just want everybody to come on out, talk about what they're reading. Oftentimes bring us titles that we may not have in our collection.
Right.
And of course, again, going back to us having 3 libraries, there's a crossover. Maplewood may not have something that South Orange has, and we're vice versa. So
And South Orange residents can borrow from Maplewood and vice versa. So it's
Right.
pretty wonderful collaborative system.
But they register only in Maplewood or in South Orange? Or-
right at their home
At their home
libraries,
library.
yes.
Right.
But they can take books from any of the 3
Correct.
libraries,
Yeah.
and those can be recorded.
Yeah.
You said the adult component is in South Orange, and I think, Jane, you said you don't have anything special for adults. They can
Not
be
this
part of
summer.
it.
We have in previous summers. Yeah.
So
but-
what's different about the adult component, or do you modify it or do something a little different with it?
Modified in a way where I guess it's not as structured, if I may. With the children and teens summer reading program, we ask children and teens to come in and fill out a reading log and share with us what they've read. Whereas with the adult program, it's just a rating of the book. You've read a John Grisham book, or you've read a Dan Brown, or you've read a Toni Morrison book. Just rate the book out of a 5-star rating, and we ask you to submit that, and then we in turn take that and add it to say a Goodreads page, so that other people can see, oh, that book was really good, maybe I want to check that out as well. So it's just it's a review process, if you may, and so people are really, really interested, and we get to see what our community is reading and the types of books that they really enjoy.
Yeah, I guess it's nice to have, we have the libraries, which is important. We have a bookstore. We had, that basically serves the 2 communities. And we just had a book fair recently.
Yes.
Yep.
So, and I happened to go down there, and I was surprised how many people were there. I don't know what I expected, but, I guess.
For
you don't
small,
always-
2 small communities, it's pretty remarkably vigorous, I thought. Yeah.
We're a very literary community.
But
Okay.
the adult component, the teen component, the component of summer reading for children, it's generates nice sort of family activities together, gets families to read together. For example, older siblings read to younger siblings. People will be reading aloud together. Parents will be involved. And reading sometimes can feel like a very solitary thing. I mean, it is sort of. I think libraries make it more social. You can come, you can be around other people who might be interested in the same things that you are.
Right.
You can get recommendations, suggestions by how they're rating it, or it just makes reading more of a community activity.
And does it have to be a book, or can you read magazines and
Any format you really want.
anything with a written word?
Anything, yes.
Let's see, anything with a written word. Well, graphic novels would,
Have they
comic
become
books.
more popular? I mean,
Oh,
Absolutely.
Well, yeah. Just for
Absolutely.
every age group. And it's funny that something may be written really for 6th graders, all of a sudden the 2nd graders start reading it, It just sort of works its way down the
Even
age
some
scale.
of the classics that have been out there,
Oh, right, yeah.
Wrinkle in Time,
Yeah.
Diary of Anne Frank, have all been adapted into graphic novels.
Really?
Babysitter's
and so,
Club.
Babysitters Clubs, yeah.
Yeah.
Things that I grew up with
Yeah.
have been adapted into graphic novels. And so, you touched a little bit on kids who may not be able to read. If you have kids of anybody of different reading abilities, a graphic novel may be that genre that you introduce to someone to get them in,
Or for the
get them
kids
interested in
who were
reading.
not born in this country, or for whom English is not their first language.
Graphic novels
yeah.
do have a benefit. Some folks feel otherwise, but there's an argument there. So
Oh, this is huge
I
benefit.
think that's a different show.
But here's the thing, anything that creates an enthusiastic reader is important. I mean, really, we don't always read great classic literature when we're reading, and why should kids have to do it all the time either?
Right.
I mean, I think good literature is great, and we promote that and understand it, but
You know,
yeah, it's-
that you bring up, that makes me think about the summer reading lists that we do have available
Right.
that everybody has access to. As public librarians, we collaborate with our school librarians throughout the course of the school year, but we set aside time towards the end of the school year where we break up into groups, children's and teens respectively, and we come up with a list of suggested titles. So for grades K to 2,
Right.
grades 3 to 5, grades 6 to 8, and then there's the high school. So we have all of those suggested titles for reading lists that will be available at both libraries. And so if kids are stuck, or if you're a reader who's stuck, you're like, oh man, I don't know what to read, or
and there are lots of different genres,
Yeah,
so
there's so many
whatever you
different
like,
genres.
you know, if you like to read, if you don't like to read, there's going to be something. If you
Right.
want adventure, if you want something really serious.
so don't
there's-
feel like you
yeah.
need to be reading a classic. Nothing wrong with classics, but if you kind of associate summer reading with, you know, the Red Badge of Courage. Oh gosh. So you're not having to read anything like that. You can read things that are fun. I just didn't like the Red Badge of Courage.
Neither do I.
Well, you both said something that I think is really critically important, and it's having that enthusiasm for reading, because I've known people who think if you're not reading something like a classic, you know, like you can't read a comic book because, I don't know, it's going to ruin your brain or something. But I mean, I grew up reading comic books personally, and I still read. I mean,
Yeah.
as far as I know, my brain's not ruined, but we'll talk about that later. But you know, having that enthusiasm, I just think is so important.
It's the critical first step of literacy, really. I mean, you need to learn what a book is, different things about it, but just being enthusiastic, picking your own materials is extremely important for kids. I mean, it's, I think, one of the number one rules.
Is to
of
make
doing
sure
it,
they
yeah,
like
yeah.
it, yeah.
But to put in another word for graphic novels and comic books, the level of the creativity, of literacy, of incredible imaginative work in both in pictures and in words, I'd say graphic novels now are very high level.
Well, do you remember the old classic comic books where they would,
Oh, yeah.
they would
Yeah.
basically take a classic and put it into in a much shorter form? Graphic novels have evolved past that, I presume?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Light years beyond that.
Light
yeah,
years.
yeah.
Okay, well, that sounds like quite a distance.
Could be an
Speaking of which, I
exaggeration.
mean, I was always big on science fiction, and we're going to have to take a break in just a few seconds, but when we come back, maybe we can talk a little bit about the themes. And I was also curious as to whether or not, you mentioned genres, whether or not certain books tend to become very popular or certain genres tend to be more popular, whether that's cycles, you know, maybe some of the metrics, to use probably an overused word, but we'll do that when we come back. So if you'll stay with us, this metric is that we'll be back in about a minute, so just don't go away, and we'll continue our talk with Keisha Miller and Jane Folge when we're back.
It's an onion.
Hi, and welcome back to Books in Action. This is Larry Petraccaro with Keisha Miller, the teen librarian at South Orange Public Library, and Jane Folge, head of
Hi.
Children's Services at Maplewood Public Library. And just before the break, we were talking about the different types of things you can read, and the fact that you can read almost anything that's printed, basically. It doesn't have to be a classic book. And one of the things that I found interesting was how graphic novels have really become such a component of literature today, I suppose. So, but one of the things we didn't talk about, and that is the theme, because every year you guys have a theme, and it's not just like you pick it out of the air. I guess there's a whole series of meetings that you get together with other librarians around. It's a statewide theme, isn't it?
It's a nationwide.
Nationwide theme,
Yeah.
okay. And the theme is, and we'll also talk about prizes, but the theme is
A universe of stories. And so you can interpret that in any way. We're choosing to interpret it as the space, and I think you are interpreting it as a
And
little different.
a little
title.
differently, which is why it's good to be a part of this community, having so many different libraries. So the theme is a universe of stories. However, we're adapting that to call it our universe of stories. And so where there are pieces of the galaxy and space and astronomy that are the focus, there's also the focus on the people, you know, our universe and how our stories have impacted us. And so we're taking a turn to focus on local history, on your story, because everyone has a story, what that is, what that means to you, what that means to the community, and how it relates. And we'll be throwing some space themes in there as well, just to embrace the universe piece of it. But it's going to be an interesting summer, I think. We're going to have a lot of different programs between all three libraries. As I mentioned, there's some space things. We're going to be building a rocket ship. We're going to be, we're
got
both celebrating the landing on the moon.
We're going to have
right.
moon landing parties.
Yes, it is the 50th anniversary of
Yes,
the moon landing, and so
1969.
We'll have a solar telescope there from Morris Museum Astronomical Society. We've got Star Lab, which is Pearl Observatory's inflatable planetarium. So, and we'll have that in the library.
we have let's see, we have our Wednesday crafts for kids of all ages, but we get a lot of school age. So perhaps your first grade right up until about third or fourth grade attending these Wednesday crafts, where we're going to be creating a photo collage highlighting your family. We're going to be building a rocket ship to celebrate the landing on the moon. And it is doable. We built a castle once, so these kids are really creative.
Fun. Yeah.
We are showing films in the library that embrace the theme on, you know, our universe of stories or a universe of stories. There's so many different things. I think one of the things that I'm looking forward to most this summer is probably our collaborative effort with the environmental committee in town is the campfire story time that we'll be having at the duck pond near the skate house in South Orange. Fire truck is going to come out, fire department rather will come out, and we're going to have a nice story time in the park. And
Are you going to have a fire?
you'll have to come and see, Larry. So there might be s'mores, you don't know.
Oh, wow.
We'll have story times at parks in Maplewood as well. And
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I mean, all these beautiful
Yeah.
parks and beautiful places in town. It's, you know, we talk about the library and who comes into the library, but it's also just as important to bring the library to people who we may not see.
Right.
So,
and bring them to other places in the community.
right. So we
Yeah.
do a lot of outreach work.
Yep.
Parks, farmers markets, the town
Right.
pools. You know, there's so much going on.
Local
so
festivals, just different things.
you
going
can't
on. Yeah.
say, well, I didn't get a chance to go to the library this summer. Guess what?
We're coming,
We're coming to you.
Well, you said
So-
before, both of you, that you go to all the different schools. When does that start? I mean, does it start fairly early?
Well, planning starts quite early, but we generally go into the schools in June or late May.
Yeah.
So we're currently doing that.
Yeah,
going
towards the
into
end of the
schools,
school
yeah.
year, we go, and the kids, it's just amazing. We've been doing this
For a long
a
time.
long time, collectively.
Yeah. We'll
Over 40 years. But we've been doing this for so long, and every time you go into the schools,
Oh, it's
the kids are
it's
like,
incredible. Yeah.
They're ready.
oh my
I love
God.
it. It's
And you go into all the
Keisha,
schools.
it's Miss
I know.
Jane.
And then they come into the library and they said, "You came to my school."
Yes,
It's
they're
just
just like floored.
And they
They see you in
grab their
person.
parent or their adult or whoever they have, drag them into the library maybe the same day we've gone to visit them, come in, and they're just so enthusiastic and charged up and excited.
Yeah,
It's
it's fun. It's one of
Yeah.
for me. It's one of the
joys.
fun
Yeah,
things
yeah,
that I
yeah.
enjoy about being a librarian.
And you go to
outreach.
not just the public schools, you go to whatever other schools, all the
Yeah,
schools
we
in town.
so in South Orange we have Our Lady of Sorrows,
Right.
and I go to Our Lady of Sorrows and I visit them, and talk to each of the kids there, and
Each class individually?
each class individually. And so a lot of times, well, I remember you. You came here
Yeah,
last
yeah.
year, and so I do that. That's actually my first school visit of the school visit season.
Right.
And then collaboratively, we go to all of the public schools between elementary and the middle schools. And we do that. And if we're not able to get to a school, we certainly do keep the lines of communication open so that the teachers, or at least the school librarians, will receive the information so they can pass it on to the teachers and,
But I'd say we get to every school child in
Yeah.
our community.
And it's summertime. People remember that it's summer reading at the library. They just remember. Now it's for them to come in and find out what we're doing. So it's always a fun time. I mean, one of the things that I'm looking forward to this year, I know I mentioned the rocket ship, but as a teen librarian, I have the teen volunteer program, or the Volunteen program. And this year it's its 10th year. So we have the landing on the moon, the 50th anniversary, and we have the 10th anniversary of the Teen Volunteer Program.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Thank you. It's a really phenomenal program, and I'm not just saying that because, I've
It is,
created it, but it really is where we're able to get teens volunteering in their community, starting with the library. And so that's ongoing, and we're looking at the next, perhaps, 8 or 9 weeks of the summer where there'll be teens helping with different programs. There'll be teens in our community doing different projects, and it's just really an amazing program. So I'm looking forward to that, and just seeing how the teens in South Orange and Maplewood will get involved. And it's not just open to teens in South Orange and Maplewood, but surrounding communities as well. And
It's a great opportunity.
you must be
Yeah.
entering grades 6 through 12 in order to participate.
So,
So,
It's just an example to me of how much more libraries do these days. I mean, you said before that both of you, I think, have pointed out they're kind of sort of the center of the community in many respects.
Right.
And it just, they just do so much. When I go into the library in Maplewood or in South Orange, you've got all these folders and things about different programs like teaching literacy.
Right.
And there's just so much, book clubs and things. The theme seems kind of intriguing too, because you've got, as you say, you can interpret it as like a galaxy far, far away kind of thing, or you can interpret it as something quite personal and local. Do you ever get the kids or do kids ever work in teams, or is it all individual?
What, in terms of reading, possibly, they might be reading to each other. In terms of programs, we do a lot of collaborative things. We've, collaborative painting or collaborative teamwork, collaborative computer work, filming different, STEM projects. So I'd say a lot of that, I think, through the Volunteen program.
Yeah.
Certainly. We do interns at Maplewood, and there are always kids working there, and it's
I'm telling you,
Big-
it's
yeah.
the place to be.
It certainly sounds like
it is the place to be. And then the programs, you've got your Wednesday program set, we've got Monday maker thing, Thursday tinker programs at the Create Space at
Yeah,
Hilton
there's-
Branch. So there's just so many different things to do.
And you
Yeah.
mentioned earlier the family component. I mean,
Yeah.
this isn't just an individual effort,
Okay.
Like Jane
It's to
said,
bring-
it is a
yeah.
collaborative effort. You can come to a program on your own, you can come with your family, you can come with your neighbor. Mondays, the maker programs in Maplewood, and then the Monday night family programs in South Orange. There's something at every
It's
time
really-
of the day.
People have play dates at the library. I mean, it really is sort of a, you go there to be with other people often.
I was
Creative
talking to a
space, yeah.
parent, and she goes, they're going to do mom camp this summer. They're going to do mom camp. A group of moms and this other mom decided to have like a co-op. So one mom will have all the kids and
Oh, wow.
do different
Yeah.
things one day. Another mom will have the kids another day kind of thing. So look at that. It's a sense of community, and they're bringing the kids to the library, and they're all getting a different experience, and,
That is nice.
getting things done.
And I'm looking at, this is just for Maplewood, you had showed me this, Jane, that you had over 1,300 participants, and looking at the number of hours, I mean, like 28,000 hours or more, and
We were talking earlier about how much reading goes on in the summer, and just in Maplewood alone, there may be 400 hours a day being read collectively, and if you add in South Orange, it's got to be a huge number of hours where people are spent reading or writing.
yeah.
I mean, that's another component of this, that writing counts.
Or you can like write a story.
Yeah, and Maplewood is the one place where we do have an extra incentive for writing, where it counts quadruple time, but you get credit for writing, so it really encourages kids to put pen to paper, to do something creative, with writing over the summer.
I mean, with that in mind, one of the programs we're having is a writing circle where we're inviting folks of all ages to come and share their story in written form and, put those stories together for years to come. So
Right, we have a similar program, anthology. This one's mostly for kids, but it's really with different writing prompts and things to do. They're going to make their own zines this summer.
Zines,
Yeah.
magazine-like?
Ish, yeah.
A magazine-ish, okay. Well, we've only got a couple minutes left, we've only got
Okay.
a little over a minute left. What about prizes? Who gets prizes, and what are the prizes this year?
You get a prize.
Oh, wonderful.
You get a prize. There are
Yeah.
prizes that we get. We purchase them. I should say our friends group of the library, of South Orange Library, is amazing in the support that they're able to give us, so that we're able to purchase a lot of the prizes, and then support from local businesses that are able to provide us with prizes as well. So a big thank you to both that we're able to do that.
We
And
couldn't do it without the community, and we couldn't do it without our friends. Our friends completely support our summer programs and make it possible. The programs, the prizes,
yeah.
it's a really great.
A lot of the prizes are, what I call
I bet you the
tchotchkes.
kids like them, bet
Yeah,
you the
they
adults
love
like them. That
Yeah.
looks pretty cool to me.
They
I
love
can see that.
You show them things like this, squishy things, or
They
slime. Kids love slime.
Kids love slime, but why, I don't know. but
And they love
slime.
food, so,
Oh, yeah.
I
You're gonna
go
have
and I
food?
Oh,
say,
yeah,
oh,
all your coupons from all your local businesses.
Who likes sushi? Who likes
Ah.
pizza? Who likes tacos? Me. So a lot of the prizes, whether they're food or toys, they appreciate.
Okay, so before we go, has it started, or when does it start?
It started.
Started.
It
Yeah.
started and it lasts all summer long, right until about mid-August. So kids can come in to sign up. If they haven't signed up at a specific date, they can sign up
Anytime?
anytime
And
during
if they're
the
away
summer.
all summer, they can still do it.
They can still
Yeah.
do it. You can read in Spain and come back and tell us about it.
So you heard that here, so we want to see that everybody reads over the
Okay.
summer. So Keisha, thank you. Jane, thank you. And thank you for joining us on Books in Action.